Recording in progress.
So, isn't it wild how Fall Prevention Girl has to come here and give y'all a little story about falls? I have said in the past that I have fallen, and one reason why I've fallen is because I get in a hurry. And I have fallen up the stairs at my office more. Well, I don't remember ever falling down the stairs. If I have, I must have hit my head and I don't remember it. But I know 2 times for sure I have fallen up the stairs because I'll be running up the stairs. And that has always been my story of falling. Well, I have to tell y'all something that happened to me on Thursday. Sharita, I didn't tell you this on purpose. I wanted to wait until today to tell you. Last Thursday, I got sick. Well, 2 years ago, I got sick. 2 years ago, I got sick and I threw up and I had a vagal response. And there's a different name to it. It's a bigger word, but it has to do with your vagal nerve. And so I threw up, and the pressure from throwing up caused me to pass out.
Okay.
Well, that was scary. I didn't know what happened 2 years ago. Of course I fell and busted my face 2 years ago. My kids were home and happened to hear me and came in there and helped me. I was sitting on the toilet with a trash can in my lap. I threw up and then passed out and fell forward. That's how I busted my face. And I busted my face on a bowl that had dog shampoo put upside down. That's what I busted my face on. But that was the day I knew that my kids cared about me and really loved me, because they cleaned up the mess that was made when that happened, got my clothes off of me and washed, and got me in the shower. And so that's love right there, especially because they were teenagers whenever that happened. So that was 2 years ago. This past Thursday, I got sick. I was at the senior center in Telfair County. I thought I had motion sickness, because if y'all remember on Thursday, the wind was blowing real hard, and it was like blowing my car really bad on the way to the senior center. So once I got there, because I felt fine. Here's Iris. I think she comes in without a Claris. Anyway, I thought I had motion sickness. Didn't end up having motion sickness. Ended up with some kind of virus. But I threw up at the senior center and I didn't pass out. It was on my mind, but I didn't pass out. So I just thought, oh good, well maybe that's in my past. I don't ever have to think about that happening again. Well, I got going home and I was like, I need to pull over. I don't know if I'm going to get sick, but I just need to pull over. And that cold air just felt good. And so I pulled over and I sat on the side of my car, like right there at the bottom where your feet go. I sat on the bottom side of my car, and I got sick and passed out on the side of the road, and my head, I woke up to my head in gravel.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, this was scary. And I woke up, when you pass out from a vagal response, well, at least in my experience, you come to pretty quickly. It's like your blood pressure bottoms out, but then it comes back up. Well, I came to, I assumed pretty quickly, and once I got my head out the gravel, there was a man standing there, and he goes, "Are you okay?" And I said, "I passed out." And he said, "I know, I was driving by and I saw you." So, thank God. He was a volunteer firefighter. Just so happened to be driving by and saw that exact thing happen. So, yay, God was watching out for me, that somebody safe stopped, somebody who was capable of helping me if I did have a medical emergency, or at least knew the right protocol. And but I tell y'all this not for sympathy. I mean, because I'm going to show y'all a picture, though. I'm going to show y'all a picture of me smiling, because while that man was standing there, I was trying to get my brain about me, and I took a picture of myself to send to my family. But if you can see, I got grass in my hair. I know, and my head is just, you see, it's busted.
Oh my.
So, fall prevention lady, and then here's my hand. I had sand and gravel in my hand.
Oh my goodness.
When I got home, I took a little bit better of a picture of my head.
Did you take a
No, I didn't. I was okay. I didn't need stitches. My blood clotted I have some good clotting blood, y'all. But here's my hand now. You can see the bruise. But this is like the sore. And then I'll show you my head after. I mean, look how fast my little body has healed. Like, you can see a little bit right here, but that's the worst of the scab. But it's pretty much all the way healed. And that was Thursday that I did that. All right. Here's the story I want to share. If you have to pull over on the side of the road and you think you're going to throw up, don't get out and sit there on the driver's side, which would be the highway side. That was really stupid of me. When you don't feel good, you don't always have good thoughts. You don't think things through. And so that's why I want to bring this story to y'all, and just hopefully y'all never are in that situation. If I had to do it all over again, I probably would have still drove myself home, because I'm that stupid. But no, not that I'm that stupid. I'm that independent. My husband was on the phone with me, because I said, will you just be on the phone with me, because I don't want to be by myself, but I don't want to talk. And so he was on the phone with me, but if I had to do it all over again, I would have got on the passenger side, so I wouldn't have been highway side. But I don't know if the person would have seen me had I been right there. I was enough off the road. It wasn't like I was in traffic. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with y'all, because that was a fall. And that was very risky. And honestly, there was nothing about Tai Chi for falls prevention that could have kept that from happening. So we learn a lot about falls and making our bodies strong, and following principle and doing all of these things to take care of ourselves, to get to keep our bodies upright and able. But that right there was something that had nothing to do with body strength. But it was a fall nonetheless, and can be very dangerous. I mean, we got a pretty important little noggin up here, don't we? So we want to protect that when it comes to falls. Maybe that was helpful, but I did want to share it, because, you never know if you're going to be in that situation. Also, just mention that to your loved ones, because I've mentioned it to my kids now. Hey, don't know if I've ever thought to tell you, but if you have to, blah, 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 stay on that passenger side of your car. If you have to pull over on the side of the road, it's not ideal, but sometimes you do have to. All right, so enough about that, unless y'all have questions. I know I had text Sharita on Thursday, because I had to cancel class on Friday. So thankfully I have the relationship with Sharita that I do have her phone number, and I text her to let her know. So, but I didn't tell her I fell on purpose. But that vagal response is real. All right. I'm going to turn this heater off. It's number one, it's loud, but y'all, it has been a cold weekend, and I'm not going to complain about winter because it was hot this past summer, but it has been a cold weekend. Some of y'all may have gotten snow, right?
I did.
Yeah, that is. We just got rain. I was at home. I didn't go anywhere, so it was fine. But we just got rain. My son, he's near Bleckley County, going to college, and he had snow. And snow is just so pretty. In the name of falls prevention, be careful whenever it's like kind of rainy and snow and cold, because that makes ice and that makes slippery. And so keep your wits about you. It can come up on you real fast, right?
Yes.
All right, we're glad to have Mr. Ed with us and not in the hospital. I'm not in the hospital. Hopefully we can all stay out of it, stay well. I give y'all this little mini lecture about what's going around and how to, take care of yourself, staying hydrated, take care of your nutrition, get proper rest, keep your hands washed, just stay away if you stay out. I don't know. Sometimes there's just no getting around it and no avoiding it. But we do our best by taking care of ourselves all the way around, not just washing our hands. All right, I got Ro. So, do you remember the other week, and I'm sorry, I'm a little bit haphazard in my thoughts. I'll pull it together. We'll get us Tai Chi. Do you remember a couple weeks ago whenever I said to y'all, I've never had the experience of Tai Chi helping me with my sleep? Well, I came across some information that maybe I'm doing something or I'm not doing something. And what was that? That was practicing diaphragmatic breathing, and how diaphragmatic breathing can help us with sleep. So it's not necessarily the Tai Chi. I was trying to make the connection to Tai Chi, but it's that deep breathing. And that has been something that I've been practicing for the past 4 days of just deep breathing after reading that. And so I want to make more of a practice of breathing. We breathe autonomically. I think that's the word. But our bodies breathe. We're not going to hold our breath forever. I'm going to start warming up my body, open and closing my hands. We're not going to hold our breath forever. Our body is going to at some point gasp and get air. But if we can practice deep breathing in those moments of relaxing, laying down, just taking the moment to breathe can help with sleep. And so I'm going to start practicing more of that. It's, things that are written in a book and on a paper and you hear about. But I'm ready to experience better sleep with that deep breathing. So I'll be intentionally adding more talk about breath and not just Tai Chi, especially because we've had experience with these moves before. So this will just be a different way of including breathing and talking about these same moves. So let's get started by getting in our stable stance, where our feet are about shoulder width or hip width apart. We have good posture, but we're not holding tension anywhere. Kind of wiggling my shoulders and making sure there's no tension left there. Thinking about my jaw. You may have different places in your body that you naturally hold tension. So I've been holding tension in my jaw the past few days. And yesterday when I ate some food, my jaw was popping really bad. And so I read that I needed to relax, that my muscles had probably been clenched so much that my jaw was really tight. And so I was purposely relaxing and closing my eyes and thinking about those muscles relaxing and just letting my jaw just naturally open and being intentional about relaxing through breath. So the parts that you have tense may change from time to time for different reasons. So it's not typically my jaw, but it has been. And I've had that problem with my jaw popping because of it. So we've let go of our tension. You know, on our t-shirts it says no tension. We attempt to be a no tension zone. Oh, and we're going to breathe. And if that's just not hold your breath, that's fine. But let's start with our neck, where we bring our hands up, pull our hands towards our face, turn and push them away, and follow those hands all the way down, chin to chest. Get us some music going on as we stretch our neck. I was listening to Mega Maroney this morning, so if she comes on, there we go. Tai Chi music just sets the mood. Feeling that slight stretch in the back of your neck as your chin goes towards your chest. Slow, smooth, and continuous. Cousin it here today. Now let's go side to side. Not going as far as we can go, just feeling that slight stretch. And then coming back to center. Taking our time with this movement, not being in a hurry. You know, I really haven't talking since Thursday, so like I said a while ago, excuse me for my scattered brain. It feels weird to start talking when you haven't talked for 4 or 5 days. Roll these shoulders. You wouldn't think I'd forget how to talk. And I have watched so much television that I told my husband yesterday, I don't even know what's reality anymore because of all these shows I've watched. I've kind of went all into their world, and I'm just halfway confused. This one right here is really good to practice breath. Inhale and exhale. I've enjoyed breathing just with my hands laid on my stomach while I'm laid in the bed or on the couch. I hadn't really laid in the floor. Some people can't lay in the floor because they can't get up out the floor. But inhaling through our nose, which I read is so important because it helps filter the air for our lungs. Exhaling through pursed lips, through our mouth. Let's grab our ball, separate, stretch our spine. Really think about that spine stretching. Not your arm, not your shoulder, but your back. Let's go side to side with our ball, stretching our spine horizontally. Just checking in with yourself, make sure that you're not holding tension anywhere. Sometimes when we raise our hands, we'll grab some tension in our shoulders. Just make sure that you've left that tension off. Go into our lower body. First our hips, we shift weight to one leg. Heel forward, hands back. Pause in the middle and toe back at that angle, hands forward. If you're in a chair, you're not going to take your toe all the way back like that. I don't want you falling out your chair. You'll hear my clarice beeping at me. Go to the other side, heel forward, hands back. Let's shift weight side to side, staying upright, not leaning with our weight shift. Our hands scoop and go with the weight shift and stop at the edge of our frame. It's hard to slow down. We live in a hurried world, and it's more challenging to slow down. Now for our knees. I'm going to turn this clarice off. I love a clarice, I swear. knees. We have our loose fist. We shift weight to one leg. We lift, tap, and punch. Shift, lift, tap, and punch. So before you lift that foot, just make sure you're checking in with yourself that your balance is okay. If you need to skip these hand movements and hold on to a chair as you shift weight and lift and tap, these hand movements aren't what's the most important. Yes, it's a counterbalance. Yes, it feels very Tai Chi. It's in that nature of that fight we're never going to have. But if you can, this is for our knees. It's also good for our hips. You can practice that weight transfer and holding on to weight while holding on to a chair, my invisible chair here. Then you'll get the most out of that movement. Punching the opposite hand out is the full movement, but you always have permission to modify and take care of your body based on your needs. Now we're going to shift, we're going to step out, shift forward while we punch the opposite hand and bring it back. Remember to keep our bodies upright. We don't lean as we shift forward. We keep both feet flat on the floor. It's a really small step forward, which is true for any of the steps that we make in Tai Chi. As we go into our advanced movements and we step forward and we step back, we get a lot of practice with feeling what works best for our bodies and how big or small, rather, that step is. And it's smaller than you realize. Now for our ankles. Sometimes we think, well, it's not good enough if it's small. It has to be big, and that's not true. So we're rocking this foot heel toe. You may feel your body feel a little stiffer than usual in these cold weather months and days. And that's why these movements are even more important, is because our bodies reflect that environment's air. And if it's cold outside, gosh, my house has even been cold. Even with the heater on, it's colder than normal. Especially in some of the room, the out rooms with the most windows, or the rooms furthest away from the unit. I don't know how that works, but y'all may have the same experience. We were talking about yesterday with my mom, because Blake didn't believe me. But when I was a kid, we'd sit around the kerosene heater. And he said, "In your house?" And I said, "Yes." And he didn't believe me, so I called my mom. I said, "Didn't we sit around the kerosene heater when we were little?" And she said, "Yes, we did." She said, "We never could get them to get downstairs." It was like a little, it wasn't a basement, but it was downstairs. We never could figure out how to get that place warm any other way. So, sometimes you got to have a space heater in different rooms. They just don't get cold or warm like the rest of them. All right, that's our warm up. So, good warm up exercises for these cold air months and days. Some of them you can do lay down, seated down, seated. Anyway, y'all know my English is challenged whenever I do these classes. I think I'm so smart until I try to talk. All right, we ready. We're going to go through our basic 6. We're kind of reviewing our basic 6 and practicing at the same time. We've talked about the commencement and our intention to put our hand movement and our weight shift together. And this becomes, when you have this practice from the very start, then it helps those advanced movements, it helps you get the most out of those movements energetically, because you're going in the direction of the weight shift, and it's just putting it together, and it just feels right. So when we bring our hands up, nothing's happening with our feet, but when we bring them down, that's whenever we're shifting weight to that right foot. So it's weight on both feet, our hands come up, facing each other, down, shift right. Place that left foot out. Remember, that foot is empty. No weight's there yet. Our hand comes in and up. Now shift left as those hands go out. Right foot forward. Hands come back, open and close. So that's what we worked on last week. We're going to build on that with single whip. And so again, it's another opportunity to weight shift with the hand movement. And in this instance, it's not a complete weight shift, it's an adjustment, or it's having weight on one leg and giving weight also to the other. So we're having weight on both legs. So mirror image, it looks like this. I'm going to tuck my pants into my socks. So if it helps to see my feet. That's a cute look. Alright, so we're going to go, mirror image. We're going to shift right. We're going to step out left into a staggered stance. So our hands are facing each other because we just came from open and close. So we step that foot out into a staggered stance. When we step it out, it's empty. There's no weight there. But when we push our hands out, we give weight to that front foot. So when we push those hands out, now we have weight on both feet. We turn our hands away from us, and then we separate these hands, moving both hands away from each other, and our eyes and our head follow the hand opposite of the foot that is stepped out. So in this case, it's my right hand. So again, this is mirror image to our first single whip. So we came from open and close. We shift right. Step out left. There's an empty step, remember. Now we give that foot weight as we push our hands out. Turn, separate. That's our single whip, our first one, which is to the right. So to show you up closer what our hands look like, whenever I shift, watch this torso, I shift right, I step out left. So when I stepped out left, did you see how my body naturally turned a little bit? And when I stepped out left, I did it, it's just like a tiny bit of an angle. It's really hard to tell on this camera, but it's about a 45-degree angle. But what I want you to think about is not a 45-degree angle, not any kind of angle per se, is I want you to think about stability. So the main thing is we're going into a staggered stance where one foot is a little further than the other. That's a very stable stance. So when you look down, which I don't recommend, because if you look down, that kind of puts you in that mindset of going down or falling down. But my foot isn't straight. See, if I look down, both of my feet are straight right now. So see what that looks like. But my foot is more like this. It's a little bit of an angle when I went into that staggered stance. So if I look down, this foot is straight and this foot is at an angle. That's a stable stance for me. Because I put my foot at that angle, my body follows it. Shift, step, you see? When I stepped at that angle, my body went at that angle. That foot was empty. Now when I push my hands out, I give some weight to that front foot. So with my hands out, there's weight on both of my feet. I'm upright, I'm not leaning. I turn my hands away and then I open both of my hands. And my eyes and head follow that hand opposite of the one that stepped out. That's the rule of a single whip. Your eyes and head follow the one opposite of the foot that stepped out. Keep that rule in mind for our single whips. So if you ever are here and you push your hands out and turn and you're like, okay, which one am I supposed to look at when I open them? Then you can think, okay, which foot is stepped out? Okay, it's opposite. And then you can remember. I want you to remember also to not just move the hand you're looking at, but to move that other hand as well. Continue. It's like you're taking it down a wall, okay? Or you're opening a curtain, or whatever helps make sense to you. Just, you know the saying, out of sight, out of mind. So if you only move the hand that you're looking at, then you're missing out on that nice stretch that you get in your chest, but also in your upper shoulder as well. So those are, you think this move is like, oh, that's so easy, so simple, and it is, but those are those key little parts of it. You know how I told you, the very first time you learn these moves, you hear it and learn it one way, and then the next time you hear about it, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot, she did tell us that. Whatever that is, you know, it just tends to happen with learning. So that's why it's always good to rehear the same things. So I'm going to turn around with the single whip and we'll add it to our top. So we're coming from open and close with our weight on both legs. We're going to shift left, step right, empty. Give it some weight as we push those hands out. Turn and separate. Eyes follow that left hand opposite of the foot that stepped out. So again, single whip, coming from open and close. Shift left, step right, adjust, push, turn, and separate. And I think when I was turned around, I was not in mirror image. Just follow me on this. Let's add it to the top. Coming from commence, we come up, down, shift right, place left, hands come in and up, shift left as they go out, right foot forward, hands come back, open and close. Single whip, shift left, place right, shift as I push, turn, and separate. So, I said the word shift. So when I think shift, I think give all my weight to the foot that I just said give it weight to. And a better word may be adjust, to where now both feet have weight. Whatever works for you, we are going from weight on one foot, placing a foot with no weight, and then adjusting to where we have weight on both feet for that whip. And then we shift back to this left foot, and then we bring that right foot back to prepare us for waving hands in clouds. So if shift works for you, or if adjust works for you, keep in mind that after you step out and you adjust the weight, you step empty, then you give it weight, but you also still have weight on that back foot. So So whatever word helps you do the right thing, that's what we're doing here. Alright, so from the top again, commence, come up, down, shift right, place left, hands come in and up, shift left as our hands go out, right foot forward, hands come back, we adjust that weight to both legs, open and close. Single whip, shift left, place right, push as I adjust, turn and separate. Eyes follow that left hand, but we didn't forget about the right. Shift left, bring that right foot, right hand back. And that gets us ready for waving hands and clouds. So let's do that a couple more times without all the talking. I'll just call out the name of the movement. And commence. Take your time. Don't get in a hurry. Open, close. Single whip. Waving hands and clouds. Oh, I went in just pilot mode, didn't I? I went right into the movement I said we ain't going to talk about yet. All right, let's y'all know it, though. Y'all know it. I knew y'all knew it. I told you my brain just isn't exactly right yet. All right, here she goes from the top. And commence. Hands come up, down. Make sure you breathe in. Open, close. Single whip. Again, giving you that opportunity to fix any bad habits that you've created. Learning this all new. And commence. Single whip. Alright, again. Commence. Open, close. Single whip. So, any questions about those? All right.
I don't have input.
Ma'am?
I'm just learning to feel balance. I'm just beginning to feel that.
You're beginning to feel what now?
That I'm balanced. Weight on the face. I can figure out that I am. At first, I feel it to my right, because I had a problem here. So now I can feel that I am. When I went into the step, and then you wait on both.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can my shoe feel that I have both legs.
You feel better balanced than ever doing that? That's
Yeah.
great. And it takes time. time and patience, and that's something that we don't generally have as people, but it does take time. And we talk about these benefits, but we're not going to get all of them at once, all of them at the first time that we do Tai Chi. And so I'm glad to hear that you've kept been dedicated to doing the process, and now you're starting to feel it. Shoes make a difference. I've talked about that before. About personally, I really like flat shoes so that it helps me feel more balanced. You don't realize that some shoes will be just, even tennis shoes, it's not even about high-heeled shoes, but some tennis shoes will have more cushion in the heel than in the toe, and so it puts your foot at an angle down, and that can throw you off just a little bit. And so if you look at the shoes that you practice Tai Chi in specifically, then that could be key to helping feel yourself more grounded in your movement. So as you shift the weight, then you're not fighting the angle of a shoe, then you are more on a flat plane. So it may have little or more or less cushion, but being flat versus a little bit higher in the back. I forget what that's called, a drop something. I've been looking for some new tennis shoes for walking, and that's what I've been looking at, is the drop between the back and the front. And if you have a bunion, that can make a difference too. Because if you have a bunion and your shoe is pushing your foot forward because the back is higher than the front of the shoe, then that can put pressure on that joint and cause pain. I mean, there's so much to even think about when it comes to shoes. So shifting that weight and really feeling that whole foot, spread and able to hold that weight. Starting off with even a chair that, even if you don't touch it, just knowing it's there for you to hold weight and allow your foot to kind of wobble a little bit and find its strength. Bending that knee just a little bit, because that lowers your center of gravity and it grounds you into to your balance a little better. That's why wrestlers and surfers and I don't know who else bend down whenever they are doing their sport. They're less likely to be knocked down or fall off of their surfboard because their center of gravity is low. I was thinking about the ice earlier and how, if there's ice on the ground, if you're able to get low and walk kind of like a duck. I can't do it right now because my knees just are not happy with me right now. But if you can kind of squat down and like walk like a duck, then that lowers your center of gravity. Do what? Yeah, it would. Thankfully, I live in the country. I don't have them. I can't. But we'll just make a sign for your yard. If y'all live in a neighborhood and you want to walk like a duck, I'll make you a sign and send to you that says, "Excuse me, I'm preventing falls," and we'll put little duck feet on it. But it all really goes back to physics, y'all. When we learned physics in school, if you did, I remember taking physics in high school and thinking that was like the smartest thing I ever learned about, because it's real. It's the way we live every day. I remember them talking about how you can put, it was about centrifugal force, and you put water in a bucket and you can spin the bucket like this and the water doesn't come out because of centrifugal force. And so That's the same thing at roller coasters. That's why you don't fall out of a roller coaster, is because of centrifugal force. So we're lowering our gravity. We're widening our stance in Tai Chi because it's physics. We're preventing falls. On that note, I want to let y'all know that I did look up the Tai Chi for walking that seems to be so popular right now. And it's the same premises that we learn in this class in moving slow, but also when we step, when we step out in that commencement move, we step heel toe. We kind of roll that foot down. We don't just slap that foot out onto the floor. And so we step heel toe and then we shift that weight. And so that is the premise behind that program, is empty step, weight shift, and moving slowly when walking. And so everything about that program is very simplified, and I like that, but it's what we do in our classes. We just have a lot more complicated moves. Next week we're going to be talking about waving hands in clouds, and that's Tai Chi walking, but to the side. So anybody who doesn't want to learn Tai Chi but is interested in falls prevention, sorry, I'm letting this style go. If you're not interested in Tai Chi but you're interested in falls prevention, that Tai Chi walking is genius, because it's thinking about posture. It's putting that foot out there empty, then shifting weight while maintaining upright posture. And again, stepping empty, shift the weight. And we do that to the side. Step out and shift. And next week when we talk about waving hands in clouds, we're going to talk about foot spacing. So if you want to practice this next week, if you just can't think of anything else to do, walk to the side. Walk to the right till you hit a wall or till you get close to a wall, and then walk to the left. And just practice what feels natural to you. If I had to give you an exact instruction, it would be just outside of hip width and then right at hip width. So that's generally the rule, but it's not the same for everybody. What we want to avoid is our feet hitting and touching each other. That's too close. And then we want to avoid a step that's too big that we have to kind of recover from, kick ourselves out of. So practice that Tai Chi walking. Share that with people who aren't interested in Tai Chi, but falls prevention can help all of us, especially in terms of strengthening our legs to be able to carry our bodies. All right, so let's cool down, give ourselves a little fist massage. It is 10:58. I'm sorry for grabbing quite a bit of y'all's time at the beginning, but I think it's important to share different falls that happen. There's nothing that I can do to keep myself from passing out. Y'all may never experience that vagal response. But I'm going to do it. That's going to happen to me, and that's something I have to remember. Even if it hasn't happened in 2 years, I'm going to have to be aware of that. So what can I do? I have to get low. I have to get on the ground, because I can't fall on the ground if I'm already on the ground, right? So that has nothing to do with my leg strength. And that's what we do in Tai Chi, but it's a fall nonetheless. So it's just always good to be reminded. And if we can learn it from someone else's blunder, then even better. Let's grab tension and let it go. Tense and relax.
Yeah.
Is she on the phone?
too long.
Tense and relax. Big shoulder circle. We're going to be breathing this. This is our new practice of breathing, because I want to be able to say, through breath, I am sleeping better.
Okay.
I love when information comes my way that's helpful for me, but if it's helpful for me, it's going to be helpful for you, because I'll share it. Then we make a fist with our left hand. Well, our right hand, sorry. A mirror image. That represents our strength. Oh, my brain is all messed up. I must have got hit in the head. Our left fingers all together, that represents our friendship. Our thumb in, our humility. We have so much to learn, and that's wonderful. I love the opportunity. We put that together, and in mutual respect, we say, Namaste. So thank y'all for being here with me. Thank y'all for being there for each other. Miss Barbara, that really touched me last week whenever you wanted Mr. Ed's number to call and check on him. I love that y'all have a relationship with each other.
Jennifer, the lady, and she's not my parents.
Okay. All right. Well, if it's on my end, I'll be glad to fix something on my end, but I want to get our audio fixed up, y'all, okay?
And I think it's on in place. That's one thing I do know.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, I'll see what I can do on my end, and then I got Clarice on y'all's. If Clarice calls, answer them, and we'll get it figured out, okay? All right, y'all stay warm. Love y'all. See you next Tuesday. All right, bye.
Bye-bye.